What's good, y'all? It is official. We are finally in the NBA Finals. Kind of see what I did there? Yeah, it's bittersweet because, obviously this is what the whole year is about. Winning the finals, get into it, what team is going to win the championship, yada yada. But also, we have potentially only 7 games left. I don't think so, but it could even be 4 games left of the NBA season, which would suck. But luckily for us NBA fans, this one is shaping up to be a pretty good matchup. I think it's going to be a good one. Obviously, out west, we have the Denver Nuggets as the number 1 seed. And then out east, we have the Miami Heat as the 8th seed. I said way back in my first round matchup video that my finals prediction was the Denver Nuggets versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Which, I guess I kind of got it right. I got the right series out east, but of course it was the Miami Heat that finally made it. I think my OG prediction back in the regular season was Denver and Boston, which I was 1 game away from that being correct. So, I kind of know what I'm talking about, I guess. Also, if you guys didn't see my video that I put out 2 days ago, it was my reactions and stuff about the Game 7 win for the Miami Heat to make them into the finals. So, if you guys haven't watched that, link in the description. It's on my channel. Make sure you go check that out. And since we're talking about the Miami Heat, we might as well start with them in this breakdown and matchup preview right here. And I'm going to start off with the head of the snake, Jimmy Butler. Of course, he is known as one of the best playoff risers in the NBA right now. And I think he's going to even take that up a level again into the NBA Finals. He had that amazing first series matchup against the Milwaukee Bucks where he was scoring 50 points, 40 points. He may have had a triple-double somewhere in there too. Just doing everything from Miami Heat, willing them to beat the number 1 seed. And then he kind of was just coasting. Of course, against the Knicks, he tweaked that ankle, so he missed a game there for that. But then still, in this Boston series too, he's pretty much been coasting. Certain spurts in the game or certain games in general, he might be a little bit more. But overall, we haven't seen that same Jimmy Butler we saw in the first round matchup against the Milwaukee Bucks. And I think that's because he's like a lead by example type of thing. So he's going to, go out there, get all his teammates, involved in doing like that. And then when he has to do it, he will do it, and he's proven he can. In his only other finals appearance, it was, of course, with the Miami Heat back in 2020 against the Lakers in the bubble. In those 6 games, those 6 final games he played against them, he averaged 26 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists on 55% from the field, and then also 2+ steals per game in that. Insane numbers. Those are some of the best numbers, we've seen in the league. And I think he's going to continue that, high-level play in the finals into this finals against the Denver Nuggets. Of course, he'll be scoring, he'll be assisting, rebounding, all that different stuff. But what I think is most important for him in this series is his matchups on, I assume he's going to be switching on, Jamal Murray for a few possessions, few games. Then also Michael Porter Jr., I think he'll be getting some time guarding him. And I think those 2 guys, depending on how Jimmy guards them, can really pivot how the series goes, offensively at least for the Denver Nuggets. Luckily for the Heat, pretty much every single person in their rotation is at least an average defender. Some of them, or a lot of them, are above average defenders. And a lot of them are very versatile too. Of course, we have the Jimmy Butler matchup, who's 6'7", strong, can guard on the perimeter, can guard some type of bigger guys, in spurts like that. They also have Bam Adebayo, who is probably one of the most versatile defenders in the league. He, of course, will be matched up against Jokic for a majority of the time. And I want to make it clear, no one in the league can stop Jokic, so I don't expect Bam to stop him. But I do expect him to make it at least difficult for Jokic, make things not so easy, or at least not look so easy for Jokic. And of course, Jokic does a lot of his damage in the post, whether that's posting up and getting for himself, penetrating, backing down his defender, or just sitting there surveying the defense, seeing where the double's going to come, and then attacking from there, passing, with his vision and stuff like that. But another big part of the Denver Nuggets offense is Jokic running DHOs, which are dribble handoffs, in case you guys didn't know, or pick and rolls. And I think Bam's versatility to be able to, to switch onto the guard on those, or hedge to, try to prevent penetration, play drop coverage, different things, way to contain Jokic and way to contain Jamal Murray if he's the one with the ball handler on that. I think that he can really make that a little bit more difficult. And I'm very interested in general to see how the Miami Heat will play Jokic. Will they try to prevent him from scoring and, send the double teams, send the triple teams? Even sometimes I've seen teams run and just let him use his passing ability to kick it out and let other people beat them. Or will they just play him one-on-one, stay home, and just not allow him to pick apart the defense and just pass to the open man, get open shots every time? I don't know. We've seen the Phoenix Suns a few games. They tried doing that, and of course, Jokic dropped 54 points, 45 points, I think it was. And, you know, the Denver Nuggets lost those games. But then we've also seen, like, the Lakers, how they just send doubles, send help on pretty much every post-up, and then he just kicks it out, you know, hockey assists, ball movement, all that type of jazz. And then they get open shots. So I'm very interested to see what the Miami Heat do. They also run that zone a lot, which could lead to a lot of open shots, like, you know, open passing lanes for Jokic. Like I said, no one can stop Jokic, but I do have trust in Erik Spoelstra and the Miami Heat to make it difficult for him. And if in the beginning of the season, or honestly even the beginning of the playoffs, I heard myself saying this, I would think I'm crazy. But the biggest thing in order for the Miami Heat to be able to extend this series is Caleb Martin. Obviously, if the Miami Heat want to win this, Caleb Martin is going to have to play well. But I think Caleb Martin is the difference between this series going 4 or 5 or 6 or 7. He's coming off of his best series in the playoffs so far, but in general, throughout the whole playoffs, he has played incredible basketball, super efficient, creating for himself, being an off-ball guy with Jimmy Butler for the catch-and-shoot ability. He's been doing everything, great cuts, great defense. They're going to need him to be the 2, 3, maybe even sometimes number 1 option on this team to get their offense going, because sometimes it does get very rough. I talked about that in my Game 7 video about the Miami Heat, how their offense, sometimes it's just a Gabe Vincent ISO or just kind of pass the ball around the perimeter and end up taking a contested 3, which obviously is not the best offense. But Caleb Martin brings that extra little guy right there. They don't have Tyler Hero. We'll talk about him a little bit in the video. But right now, they don't have Tyler Hero. For this playoff run, they haven't had Tyler Hero. And Caleb Martin has stepped up as that secondary shot creator behind Jimmy Butler, behind Kyle Lowry, Gabe Vincent, like I mentioned before. Those guys can do it a little bit. Caleb Martin has helped take that pressure off of them, though. He's also rebounded very, very well throughout this playoffs. Had a few double-digit rebound games, 7 rebounds here, 8 rebounds, 6 rebounds, whatever it is. He's been having a decent rebounding job throughout this playoffs, and he's going to need to continue that too, because the Denver Nuggets are such a big lineup, a big team. They are really good at rebounding. They got Jokic down there. They have Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. at 6'10". They're going to need Caleb Martin to crash the boards. Of course, Bam will be down there. They'll probably run some Kevin Love maybe. He'll be back in the rotation just for the size purposes. Jimmy Butler rebounding. They're going to need a whole team effort. Caleb Martin is a big, big part of that team effort now. And as I just mentioned, Tyler Hero is planning to make his return in the NBA Finals. I think they said they're aiming for Game 3, I believe. I'm not putting too much pressure on Tyler Hero. I would honestly put him back on that bench. Obviously, we know he won the 6th Man of the Year. He's very comfortable coming off the bench. So I think it would just be the best, at least to get him more accustomed to game speed, get back in rhythm, because he hasn't played basketball in, 2 months maybe? I can't remember how long these playoffs are. In a while, though. So I think I can see them kind of just taking him and putting him in, like, Duncan Robinson's minutes or something like that. Just little things here and there, get him back accustomed into it slowly. Also depends on how Game 1 and Game 2 go, on how, dire they need him in the situation. But I'm not expecting Tyler Hero to be too much of an X factor, too much of a difference maker in this series. I am looking for Kyle Lowry, though, to come into the game and continue what he's doing off their bench, coming in and controlling the pace of the game, getting his playmaking going, controlling that second unit. And, he is also the only player, I think, besides Kevin Love, the only player that has won a championship on this roster. So he has that, that comfortability playing in the finals, playing against a very, very good offensive juggernaut as he defeated the Golden State Warriors. So he's going to have a big impact off their bench. And I know I was just talking a little bit of trash on Gabe Vincent about his ISOs in the offense. And, he's probably going to have to still do different things like that. I don't like him in that role. What I think he needs to do in this playoffs, or in this finals, rather, is to be a really good catch-and-shoot guy, which he has throughout the playoffs, been really shooting the 3-ball incredibly. And then also where I think he'll make an even bigger impact is his defense, specifically on Jamal Murray. He is a little undersized, and we saw in that Lakers series when Dennis Schroeder, a little undersized, was guarding Jamal Murray. He would just take him right to the post him up, do whatever he wants, a little fadeaway, a little drop step even sometimes he was doing just for the easy lays. I could see Gabe Vincent really struggling with that, but at the same time, he is a really good perimeter defender. He could pick him up full court, make him waste that energy, make him waste that clock, maybe even, get a little poke at the ball a little bit here, a little bit there, and make a slight impact on Jamal Murray. I don't really know how much, Jamal Murray, you can really knock him off of his focus, but I do think he needs to have a really big impact guarding him. Now for the other side of things, looking at the Denver Nuggets, like I said, when I'm talking about Bam Adebayo and his defense, no matter how good the Miami Heat play, I have no doubt in my mind that Nikola Jokic is going to get his regardless. He averaged a triple-double against the Lakers last series, which were the best defensive team in the entire playoffs so far, and he did it with ease while sweeping them. That's just, he does this. That being said, though, I do think Nikola Jokic needs to get his teammates involved early on and very frequently, which is his play style, what he prefers to do. Like I said, will the Miami Heat try to prevent that and just let him play one-on-one, make him specifically by himself beat them? Or will they send the doubles, send the triples, just try to get the ball out of his hands as fast as possible and let everyone else beat them? We don't really know, but I honestly think it would be better for Nikola Jokic if he was just passing the ball all the time. Obviously, he will get those, offensive rebound putbacks to get his own points. He'll be able to get the deep post position and just kind of go up for quick shots like that and get his own that way. I think it's very important that he gets his playmaking going. And then speaking of rebounds, obviously just talking about the offensive rebounds. On the defensive side of the ball, though, I think he needs to continue doing what he's been doing pretty much his whole career and throughout this playoff, grabbing the rebound, turning, running if there's obviously not an open pass out. He is not afraid to launch that thing full court, but I need him to really just push the pace off that, get the Nuggets out in transition in easy offenses so they don't have to go up against that Miami Heat defense, which has been stellar. Also, I think it is finally time to wipe away the bubble Jamal Murray name out of here and just name it Playoff Jamal Murray, because he has proven throughout, no matter what playoff series you look at. I mean, early on, he was, he's younger. You can't really put that against him in those 2019 playoff runs. But starting 2020 and then this playoff run too solidified him as a playoff riser, a playoff performer, playoff Jamal Murray, no more Bubble Murray. Obviously, he's been on a heater throughout this playoffs, and I don't expect that to slow down. Like I said before, he may be seeing some Gabe Vincent, he may be seeing some Jimmy Butler, he may be seeing some Caleb Martin. All great defenders, all good defenders. I don't want to, overstep my boundaries here. But all good defenders, they will be making it difficult for him. But I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to be able to still do his, his perimeter shot making, shot creating. And I think he is a pretty underrated playmaker. Everyone looks at his incredible shots that he makes and his incredible scoring, which it is incredible. But I think his playmaking also brings that other dynamic where he can get an open guy like KCP or Bruce Brown or MPJ. And, all the playmakings kind of just looked at Jokic, who's also amazing at that. But I think Jamal Murray is very underrated in that fact where if they try to send doubles to stop him from scoring, he can easily make that pass, skip pass, bounce pass, whatever it is. He can make all the passes in the book, and he's going to be great at that throughout this series. Then we got Aaron Gordon, his versatility. I would assume that he's going to be the main defender on Jimmy Butler for the majority of the series. Like I said with the LeBron matchup, he's got size, he's got athleticism, he can jump, he can, stay out on the perimeter, shift his feet. I think it's going to be a very difficult matchup for Jimmy Butler because Jimmy does like to take it to the paint, to really be physical with his guys. And Aaron Gordon is a super strong dude, really great defender. Jimmy will probably get his, but I think he will make it very, very difficult on Jimmy. He also needs to keep impacting the game with his rebounding like he did against that Lakers series. The Miami Heat aren't a very big team. They run Jimmy or Caleb Martin at power forwards. Like I said, they might insert Kevin Love back in the starting lineup just to get more of that size. But if they don't, Aaron Gordon should be able to feast down low on the offensive side of the ball and then also on the defensive side of the ball, owning the paint, boxing out, grabbing rebounds, and then getting out in transition like I mentioned before. I think that's going to be a very big part of that. And then also the X factor that comes down to him is his shooting. He's been shaky pretty much the whole playoffs, this all year. Not the best shooter in the league, of course. But in that closeout game 4 against the Lakers, he shot, I think it was like 3 for 5 or something like that. If he can continue that shooting, it's over. If Aaron Gordon has a game in the finals where he's going 3 for 5, the Nuggets should have no problem winning that game. So if he can continue the shooting, it could go very quickly for the Miami Heat. And speaking of shooting, of course, Michael Porter Jr., we know what he can do behind the line. We know that he can knock down a lot of shots very quickly. What I really look for him to do, though, in case that shot is not falling, because we have seen that as well, where his shot just isn't falling for a game, he has been doing very well this playoffs with impacting the game in other ways, rebounding with his big 6'10 frame, even playing defense, which surprised me a lot. Not even just like lockdown defense, but being able to give a good contest with his 6'10 frame, being able to block some jump shots. He's had a few of those in those Lakers series too. KCP as well is going to have to keep shooting the ball great as he has been. And then also on the defensive side for him, he's probably going to be matched up against a Kyle Lowry, a Gabe Vincent, maybe a Max Strus or a Caleb Martin here and there too. He's going to have to disrupt them. And last but not least, my guy, Bruce. Anytime he hits a big shot, a dunk or whatever it is, I'm on my couch, I'm yelling, Bruce. I love when guys have that little ooh sound in their name, like Strus. That too for your Miami Heat fans. My fault, I'm on a little tangent here. But his Swiss Army knife type of guy, defending, rebounding, playmaking, scoring. I expect to have a big series, a big impact off that Denver Nuggets bench. And with all this being said, my final prediction is the Denver Nuggets in 6. I've learned my lesson, Miami Heat fans. I know I disrespected you in the Bucks series. I disrespected you. I don't think I disrespected you too much in the Knicks series. I think I said Heat in 6, which is what it ended up being. Or Knicks in 6, my fault. So I kind of did disrespect you. It's not a quick series, though. I don't think it's going 4 or 5. I think you guys can win a few games here against Denver, but Denver has shown they're the best team throughout the regular season. They're the best team throughout the playoffs. They've only lost 3 games so far in the playoffs. They're legit, they're real, and I think they're winning the NBA Finals. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you leave it a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next videos. I'm going to be having a bunch of videos breaking down each individual Finals game, so make sure you don't miss those out. And throughout the off season, I'm going to have a bunch of videos talking about what this team could do, what this team can do, top players, rankings, a bunch of different cool videos, so make sure you subscribe. In the description, there's links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those to keep up to date with me. Catch ya.